We've got some giant stuff for you. We've got giant people, giant civilizations. Just
big. We're going big today.
Starting off our list today with evidence of a giant civilization in the most literal sense of the phrase, because in November of 2012, archaeologists managed to piece together the first complete ancient skeleton of a person with gigantism, which from head to toe measured in at a height of 6 feet and 8 inches. The skeleton, discovered near Rome, dates back to the 3rd century AD, making it a giant for its time, where the average man measured in at just about 5.5 feet. In fact, coming in at almost 7 feet, the gigantic skeleton discovered near ancient Rome was only 7 inches shorter than the tallest man at the time of its discovery, and it is 15 inches shorter than Robert Waldo, who currently holds the world record. The discovery of the skeleton is a rare and miraculous find, seeing as even in our own day and age, cases of gigantism are few and far between.
Next on the list we have more archaeological giants. This time multiple ginormous human remains were discovered in Nevada's Lovelock Cave. For hundreds of years there were tales told by the native Paiute people of giant pale-skinned invaders known as the Sitaka, but when actual bones started being discovered, these stories started being looked at in a whole new light. According to local legends, these giants were fierce red-headed warriors who arrived in the area thousands of years before, attacking the local tribes. Eventually, the tribes all banded together, they chased the giants into a cave and killed them all. The first recorded discovery related to the legend happened in 1911. 2 miners stumbled on what looked like massive skeletons in Lovelock Cave. Some of these skeletons were reported to be between 7 and 8 feet tall. And then further excavations in 1912 and 1924 unearthed thousands of ancient artifacts from the cave, including a massive sandal measuring 15 inches long. Another crazy find was a large handprint embedded in the rock, about twice the size of an average human hand. In 1931, an article in the Nevada Review Minor reported the discovery of 2 mummified skeletons in a dry lake bed near Lovelock, skeletons that were said to measure 8.5 to 10 feet tall with red hair.
Next up, we have the ancient Sumerian civilization, the world's first known civilization, which has had a gigantic impact on civilizations as a whole, and which continues to influence us to this day. The Sumerian civilizations lived between 4500 BC to 1900 BC in ancient Sumer, an area in Mesopotamia. Humans began settling in the areas around 10,000 BC, but they were not classified as civilizations until about 4500 BC, when they began cultivating crops at a rate which allowed them to begin forging the world's first cities. Cities such as Eridu, Uruk, and Ur were created by the Sumerian civilizations and were built with tall temples and palace complexes, which suggest a clear understanding and following of hierarchy and worship in ancient times. There is also evidence of tracking systems being used in the cities. Clay tablets were scratched with a writing system called cuneiform to track the movement of grain throughout their territories, as well as to share stories and myths, some about giants. The Sumerian civilization also pioneered mathematics, astronomy, and astrology, invented irrigation systems, started the first schools, made the first laws, and created our current conception of time by dividing days into hours, hours into minutes, and minutes into seconds. Pretty neat stuff.
Next up, we have the discovery of giants in China. So in 2016, archaeologists started excavating an ancient settlement in a village in China's Shandong province. They discovered the ruins of 104 houses, 205 graves, and 20 sacrificial pits. But one of the most bizarre discoveries was a number of unusually large male skeletons. The bones dated back about 5,000 years and were 5'9" or taller. My god! Which, obviously that's nothing to write home about by today's standards, but for the Neolithic period, that's massive. One of these men measured around 6'2", and according to Feng Hui, the head of Shandong University's School of History and Culture, the man was likely even taller when he was actually alive. Researchers believe that these tall men were probably of high status. Maybe they had better nutrition and living conditions compared to the general population, which was why they grew so tall. The large tombs where they were buried also point to them having been wealthy or important in some way.
But some Andean legends go even further, claiming that this fortress was built by giants. Even today, the fortress remains one of the greatest engineering mysteries of the ancient world. Was it built by human hands alone, or did giant architects leave their mark on history? Number 5. Göbekli Tepe pillars. 12,000 years old and predating the pyramids by 7,000 years. It's really impressive. Göbekli Tepe is the oldest known temple in the world, and its origins are baffling. The site is home to enormous, intricately carved stone pillars, some of them weighing up to 20 tons. But here's the issue. At the time it was built, humans were still hunter-gatherers, right? Historically, they didn't have any cities, no agriculture yet, and supposedly no ability to construct monuments. So how is this here? How did they do it? Some myths suggest that giants were the first builders of temples, guiding early humans before, poof, vanishing from history. Others claim the Nephilim, the giant offspring of fallen angels mentioned in ancient texts. They could have been responsible as well. Whatever the truth may be, Göbekli Tepe rewrites everything that we thought we knew about early civilization. Number 4. Easter Island. These 887 massive stone heads of Easter Island have fascinated the world for centuries. They look kind of cool, right? Just big faces made of rock. Are these Decepticons? Who built these? Each one stands up to 33 feet tall and weighs up to 80 tons. Now the biggest question is, how did the islanders move them? Look at them, they're massive. Local legends speak of the Hana-ipi, a race of giant ancestors who helped carve and transport the moai. Now some myths even claim the statues walked into place, leading some researchers to suggest the Rapa Nui possessed a lost method of moving stones, possibly levitation. Yeah, magic, we don't know how they did it. Whatever it was giants, ancient engineering, or something more mysterious, the moai remain one of history's greatest enigmas. Number 3. Baalbek's triathlon. In the ancient city of Baalbek, Lebanon, sits the Temple of Jupiter, one of the greatest temples of the Roman world. But the real mystery isn't the temple itself, it's the 3 massive foundation stones that are beneath it, known as the Trilithon. Each stone weighs over 1,000 tons, far beyond what even modern cranes can lift today. The Romans built the temple, but who put these giant stones in place before them? Arabic legends claim the site was built by a race of giants under the command of King Nimrod, while others believe it was a pre-flood civilization with some advanced lost technology. Even today, no one knows exactly how or why these massive stones were placed. But either way, my back hurts thinking about it. Number 2, the Pyramid of Cholula. At first glance, the Great Pyramid of Cholula doesn't even look like a pyramid per se. It looks like a giant hill with a church on top. Still lovely, but not our ideal pyramid when we think of them. But beneath that hill is the largest pyramid by volume in the world, even bigger than the Great Pyramid of Giza. Ancient Nahua legends say the pyramid was built by Zelua, a giant who wanted to escape massive floods by stacking bricks sky high. Now the gods themselves were angered by his arrogance, and they struck it down with fire, leaving it half buried, where we found it today. Unlike Egypt's pyramids, Cholula wasn't just a tomb, it was a hidden city. Its tunnels and chambers are still being explored to this day. And finally, number 1, the Great Pyramid of Giza. We mentioned it, so let's talk about it. The most famous and mysterious structure in history has to be the Great Pyramid of Giza. It's puzzled scholars, engineers, and conspiracy theorists for centuries. Built with over 2.3 million stone blocks, each of them weighing 80 tons, its precision is unmatched. Even modern engineers struggle to explain how it was built. Ancient Egyptian texts speak of the Shemzu Hor, which is a race of divine beings who ruled before the pharaohs. Others link the pyramid to the Nephilim, these giants in the Book of Enoch. Now some even suggest lost technology was involved in this building, but who built the pyramids? Skilled laborers, giants, or a lost civilization?
Number 10. The journals. In 1520, Ferdinand Magellan took time out of his busy schedule of sailing around the world to stop in what is now Patagonia, where he found a naked giant dancing and singing on the shore. Magellan ordered one of his men to make contact and to make sure to reciprocate the dancing and singing to demonstrate friendship. It worked. The man was able to lead the giant to a small island offshore where the great captain waited. Describing the scene was a scholar along for the journey, Antonio Pigafetta, who kept a diary of the journey, and that was later turned into a book. When he was before us, he began to marvel and to be afraid, and he raised one finger upward, believing that we came from heaven. And he was so tall that the tallest of us only came up to his waist and had a big booming voice. On that small island, Magellan and his men gave the giant food and drink, then made the mistake of showing him a mirror, wherein the giant, seeing himself, was greatly terrified, wrote Pigafetta, leaping back so that he threw 4 of our men to the ground. But once things had calmed down, the explorers proceeded to make contact with the rest of the tribe, hunting with them and even building a house to store the provisions while on shore. Number 9. Giant in Mexico. In December 2022, TikTok user Squatch Watch Project, who claims to be connecting the cryptid community, posted a video of what they claim is a giant. The text on the video reads, "Real giant caught on video in Mexico." The video shows what appears to be some sort of mountain or cave. There is a hole in the side of it, and there's a very large man looking out. He seems to be staring at the person recording and then backs up and goes back into the rocks. Many people in the comments made jokes, but a lot of them think it's real. One user commented, "What's going to be the government's excuse for this one? The video and the zoom on this is on point." Others are commenting that it's like the film The Hills Have Eyes. Now, is it a giant, a feral human being? Who knows, but whatever it is, I will be staying far away. Number 8. Giant complex. In 2012, a team of explorers and researchers discovered what they believed to be an ancient pyramid complex in the remote area of the Ecuador Amazonian jungle, one not known to the general public, internationally, or even within the county. Bruce Fenton, author and researcher, believes the complex may be the lost city of the giants, so named for the large giant-sized tools that were found in the vicinity, as well as the local legends that speak of a race of giant humans who once inhabited the region. At the discovery site, there was one extremely large pyramidal type structure of approximately 80 meters square base and 80 meters height with steeply inclined walls. This structure is made up of hundreds of large stone blocks weighing approximately 2 tons in weight. The large hill has a flat area at the top where many artifacts have been found. It looks like a paved wall, an ancient street or plaza with a 60-degree angle, perhaps the roof of a larger structure. Many of the stones were perfectly aligned, have sharp edges, and seem to have been sculpted by human hands, said Mr. Giovanni, who undertook an expedition to the site in April and May of 2013. Number 7. The skull. A team of international researchers studying an ancient skull determined it belongs to a newly discovered species that's more closely related to modern humans than Neanderthals, but others in the scientific community say the skull might belong to a mysterious but already known ancestor. The researcher study, published in the journal Innovation, said the skull came from a previously undiscovered human species that lived in northern China. Researchers have named the species Homo Longi, which translates to dragon man. The skull is the largest Homo skull ever found, and the researchers say it belonged to a male in his 50s who lived in northern China between 146,000 and 296,000 years ago. The skull shows a face that would have been much larger than modern humans, with thick brow ridges and deeply set eyes, but shows a brain that would have been about the same size. The skull was reportedly found by a farmer in the northern Chinese city of Harbin during the early 1930s while he worked on a labor crew that was building a bridge. In 2018, it was given to a Beijing area university. Now, if the skull does belong to a new species, it's largely unclear what their lives looked like. It's also unclear how much they might contribute to the lineage of modern human. The DNA evidence suggests that if the hominin sees another hominin, they're happy to interbreed, even if their brow ridge is a little bigger or their skull is a little higher, said Karen Babb, a Midwestern University anthropologist who was not associated with the research. Number 6. Mysterious silhouette. In December 2022, a TikToker named MixMasterXL posted a video of a giant on a mountaintop in Mexico. They captioned the video, "40-foot giant caught on camera walking the mountaintops in Mexico." Now, I don't think it's 40 feet tall, that's an exaggeration, but it's something giant up there. It's a tall black silhouette that's walking, you can see their legs as they take steps, and both of their arms. Now, if this was a normal sized human, you wouldn't be able to see them that clear or that much. It's clearly something large looking down below from the mountain. Now, the comments were mixed, with a lot of people thinking it was fake, but if it wasn't a giant, then what was it?
Next up, we have a gigantic ancient city discovered in the Amazon that remained hidden by the lush vegetation of the forest for thousands of years until early 2024, 2024, that's this year, when archaeologists were overjoyed to stumble upon the ancient city located beneath the jungles of the Amazon. The discovery validated over 20 years spent searching for the remains of ancient civilizations within the jungle. The ruins were located using light detecting and ranging technology to scan beneath the brush of the forest, which revealed over 6,000 rectangular structures made up of compressed earth, as well as ancient drainage systems and sophisticated road networks connecting at least 15 different distinct settlements within the valley. The ruins are estimated to be around 2,500 years old and are said to have been home to tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people from the Kilimope and Upano cultures. While there is not much else we know about this discovery, as it is so incredibly recent, scientists are eager to continue their research in this area.
Catalina Island off the coast of California has a lot of history with large skeletons. In the early 20th century, Ralph Glidden, an amateur archaeologist, conducted digs between 1919 and 1928, and he claimed to have unearthed all these skeletons, some that were reportedly up to 9 feet tall. The discoveries were made in burial sites of the indigenous people who once lived on the island. Glidden's finds included bones, artifacts, and tools, but it was the size of the skeletons that grabbed the most attention. He documented his excavations and even created a small museum to display some of the bones and the artifacts that he found. People were pretty amazed, but there were also a lot of skeptics. Many experts were very critical of his findings. Over time, a lot of Glidden's work was dismissed as either exaggerated as a money-making scheme or that he was just misinterpreting everything. But islands can be pretty strange places. Animals have been known to grow on islands in strange sizes, either abnormally large or abnormally undersized, so who knows?
Alright, for this next one, I thought I would have a bit of fun with you guys because I truly would like to get your input on the Silurian hypothesis, a real hypothesis posed by real scientists who named the theory after Doctor Who aliens. But I mean, who can blame them? While there is no actual proof for this theory, I did want to include it in the video because it is just so incredibly interesting. The Silurian hypothesis states that human beings might not have been the first large civilization of intelligent life forms to have evolved on Earth, but instead, millions of years ago, another advanced, almost alien-like civilization existed. While you might be thinking, well, that's dumb. If an ancient civilization existed 1 million years ago with such a wide reach, surely there would have been some kind of evidence, right? I mean, dinosaurs existed over 1 million years ago, and there is an abundance of evidence supporting their existence. Well, here's the thing. Dinosaurs were around for more than 150 million years. We, on the other hand, took an incredibly short amount of time to spread ourselves out across the globe, only about 100,000 years. If this ancient civilization is anything like us, while their reach might have been ginormous, they might have had the same rapid expansion that we did, and therefore it is not hard to believe that by now any fingerprint they once left on this planet would have long since vanished. But like I said, I want to know what you think. Are we on board with this theory, or are you bored with this point? Let me know down below.
Next up, we have a whole species of giants, towering, hairy creatures that would have sounded like a complete legend before the scientific world actually discovered their existence. Gigantopithecus. Gigantopithecus is known for being one of the largest apes to ever roam the earth, with some estimates of it standing up to 10 feet tall and weighing over 1,000 pounds. Fossils have been found throughout Asia, particularly in places like China and Vietnam. The fossils are mostly teeth and jaw bones, which are incredibly large compared to any living ape species that we have today. A lot about Gigantopithecus is a bit of a mystery because most of the fossils discovered are teeth and jaw fragments. Researchers have to rely on that to piece together its appearance and behavior. There's even ongoing debate about whether Gigantopithecus walked upright like humans or moved around on all fours like modern gorillas. All I know is that coming face to face with one of these things would have been horrifying. And they did live at the same time as human beings too, so that's freaky.
Next Next up, we have the world's largest and most gigantic ancient empire, the Achaemenid Empire, also known as the Persian Empire, which was ruled from the Achaemenid throne in what is now modern-day Iran, and which in 480 BC ruled over an estimated 44% of the world's population, which at the time was comprised roughly of 112.4 million people. While the empire might not have had the most land, or technically ruled over the most number of people, percentage-wise it definitely takes the ancient cake, surpassing both the ancient Mongol Empire and the modern-day British Empire. Now, not only was this empire large, it also had a huge impact. I mean, obviously, it ruled over 44% of the world's population. The Persian Empire is widely recognized for creating a centralized model of bureaucratic administration, multicultural policies, and infrastructure such as road systems and organized postal systems. So the next time you are angry at the post office, blame them, I guess.
And to finish things off, we have the island with the massive sized stone statues, Easter Island. If you didn't know any better, you'd probably think giants must have inhabited this island at one point. Rapa Nui is a small remote island in the southeastern Pacific Ocean. It's famous for its colossal stone statues called moai, which have puzzled historians and archaeologists for centuries. The island is just 63 square miles in size, but it's home to nearly 900 of these statues, some of which weigh as much as 80 tons and stand over 30 feet tall. They were crafted by the Rapa Nui people between 1100 and 1500 AD using volcanic rock from the island's quarries. It was always a mystery as to how the people moved these massive statues. It looked like they were either pulled with ropes over logs or pulled back and forth using ropes, which kind of made the statues waddle across the ground, which is pretty cool. It's an amazing feat, really.
Throughout history, civilizations have gazed upon colossal stone structures and wondered, who could have built these, and how? Here are 10 ancient giants that may have built the world's megastructures. Number 10, the Giant's Causeway, Ireland. On the rugged coast of Northern Ireland lies a landscape that looks less like nature and more like the ruins of an ancient road for gods. Looks like something from Elden Ring. The Giant's Causeway is made up of nearly 40,000 interlocking basalt columns. They're perfect hexagonal shapes fitting together almost like a puzzle. It's very specific. It's the kind of place that makes you wonder who or what built this and how. Scientists say that these stunning rock formations were created by ancient volcanic activity, but that's boring, right? You didn't click this list for that. Irish legend offers a much wilder explanation. The tale goes that the mighty giant Finn McCool, like the restaurant, many restaurants we have here in Toronto, he built the causeway as a bridge to Scotland, where he intended to challenge another giant, Benidorm, to a duel. But when he saw how much bigger and stronger Benidorm was, Finn panicked. He just left. His wife had a brilliant idea, so she dressed Finn up as a baby and then tucked him into bed. I know, crazy story, right? Where was this in Game of Thrones? While geologists may have a more rational explanation than the whole giant baby building the bridge scenario, there's no denying the otherworldly appearance of the Giant's Causeway. Number 9, the Nuraghi of Sardinia. Scattered across the Mediterranean island of Sardinia are over 7,000 ancient stone structures called Nuraghi, some of the most mysterious prehistoric buildings in Europe. Towering at over 100 feet, these massive fortresses are made of huge stacked stone blocks constructed without mortar, which is quite hard. No glue? How is that staying together? Archaeologists believe that the Nuraghic civilization built them between 1800 and 1100 BCE, but local legends tell a very different story. And yes, it includes giants. According to Scandinavian folklore, giants once roamed the island, standing twice the height of men and possessing superhuman strength. It was they, the legends say, who built the Nuraghi, using their enormous size to lift and arrange the stones with ease. Number 8, the Cyclopean walls of Greece. Throughout ancient Greece, some of the most baffling architectural feats are the Cyclopean walls, these massive stone fortifications, named because of the Greeks themselves believed only the legendary Cyclopes would have built them. The ruins of Mycenae and Tiryns, both dating back over 3,000 years, are perfect examples. These walls themselves contain stones that are so large that some of them weigh over 120 tons. My back hurts thinking of that, and I'm not a giant. Even with today's technology, moving these stones would be an enormous challenge, so how did they do it? Greek mythology provides a simple answer. They didn't. Instead, it was the Cyclops, a race of these towering one-eyed giants, who built these impenetrable fortresses. Now, in some versions of the myth, the Cyclops were expert stonemasons employed by the gods themselves. Hope they got benefits for that one eye. But beyond mythology, some serious mysteries remain. How did ancient builders transport and position these stones of these size without pulleys or cranes? Were they using lost construction techniques, or did they actually have the help of giants? Number 7, the dolmens of Europe and Asia. Scattered across Europe, the Middle East, and Asia are thousands of ancient dolmens, these strange table-like stone structures built over 5,000 years ago. These dolmens consist of massive stone slabs, often weighing hundreds of tons, placed atop another, almost like a doorway to another world. I've been playing too much God of War. Archaeologists say that they were likely burial tombs, but their exact purpose and construction methods remain a mystery. How did prehistoric builders lift and arrange these stones with such precision without the help of modern tools or pulleys? And the answer, according to ancient myths, is simple. Again, they didn't. It was giants. In France, local legend credits the giant Gargantua, who allegedly carried these massive stones in his pockets and then scattered them across the countryside. You get a stone, why not? In Korea, ancient texts speak of Hwanguk, a legendary giant king who built the dolmens to mark the resting places of his people. Again, you're just tossing out resting stones. Everyone gets one. Number 6, the Fortress of the Gods. Perched high above Cusco, Peru, the ancient Fortress of the Gods is one of the most mind-boggling megalithic sites on the planet. Its walls are constructed from these massive, irregularly shaped stones, some of them weighing up to 200 tons, yet they fit together so perfectly that not even a single blade of grass can slide between them. That's super impressive, and so long ago. How did they do that? How did the Inca, a civilization without wheels or even iron tools, manage to move and shape these colossal blocks? They didn't. Even today, no one knows for sure. The Inca themselves credited Viracocha, a bearded god who is said to have created the world and taught mankind the secrets of civilization. Thank you. Thanks for your tips.
Number 5, ancient burial mounds. There is very credible documented evidence that giant skeletons were found across America in the late 1800s. In New England, skeletons unearthed in an ancient burial mound were measured between 7 feet and 10 feet tall. While respected newspapers reported these findings at the time, which points to the credibility of their source. In fact, there are several documented findings of giant skeletons from all over America in the past, with most reports coming from the turn of the 19th century. There is also evidence that bones of giants measuring over 2 meters in height were found in the tombs across Sardinia. This was covered in an episode of Forbidden History called The Mystery of the Giants. There are some reports suggesting that during the 19th century, the Smithsonian Museum in America was very keen to purchase the bones of giants found by civilians, only for them to never see the light again. There is a similar story in Sardinia, with farmers in more modern times uncovering massive bones and teeth and handing them over to the authorities, only to hear nothing more about them. Number 4, bone fragments. Giant of Castelnau refers to 3 bone fragments, a humerus, tibia, and femoral midshaft, discovered by Georges Vacher de Leponge in 1890. According to de Leponge, the fossil bones may have belonged to one of the largest humans known to have existed. He estimated from the bone size that the human may have been about 11 feet 6 inches tall. His findings were published in the journal La Nature in 1890. The bones were dated to the Neolithic period, since they were found at the very bottom of the Bronze Age burial tumulus. Writing in the journal La Nature, de Leponge describes the bones in detail. I think it's unnecessary to note that these bones are undeniably human, despite their enormous size. The first is the middle part of the shaft of a femur, 14 centimeters in length, and the circumference of the bone is 16 centimeters. The second piece is a middle and upper part of the shaft of a tibia. The circumference is 13 centimeters and the length of the fragment is 26 centimeters. The third, very singular, was regarded as the lower part of the humerus. The volumes of the bones were more than double the normal pieces to which they correspond. Judging by the usual intervals of anatomical points, they also involve lengths almost double. The bones of the giant were studied at the University of Montpellier and examined by M. Sabater, professor of zoology, and M. Delage, a professor of paleontology. In 1892, the bones were studied carefully by Dr. Paul Louis André Kiener, professor of pelagical anatomy at Montpellier School of Medicine, for which he admitted they represented a very tall race, but nevertheless found them abnormal in dimensions and apparently of morbid growth. Number 3. On a mountain. In November 2022, a TikTok user named Painting with Lizards posted a video of a giant on a mountaintop in Mexico. Yes, Mexico again. They claim that they post all kinds of creepy content. Their video has the text "giant spotted on the hills of Mexico. Is this the legendary Nephilim?" The video shows the side of a hill with many houses. On top of the hill, there appears to be a giant walking around. This being seems huge, too big to be a normal human being. A commenter said, "The fact that you can see it clearly from right there, no normal human can be seen like that. That monster has to be at least 20 feet tall." Now, this is the third time a giant has been spotted in Mexico, and I'm honestly starting to believe it. All 3 sightings were in different areas, which to me makes it seem more believable. Do you think there's a giant in Mexico? Let me know in the comments down below. Number 2. North America. Over 1,000 accounts of 7-foot and taller skeletons have reportedly been unearthed from ancient burial sites over a 200-year period in North America. Newspaper accounts, towns and county histories, letters, scientific journals, diaries, photos, and Smithsonian ethnology reports have carefully documented this. These skeletons have been reported from coast to coast with strange atomic anomalies such as double rows of teeth, jawbones so large as to fit over the face of the finder, and elongated skulls, documented in virtually every state. Smithsonian scientists identified at least 17 skeletons that stood over 7 feet in their annual reports, including one example that was 8 feet tall, and a skull with a 36-inch circumference reported from Anna, Illinois in the Smithsonian Annual Report of 1873. Now, an average human skull is about 20 inches in circumference for reference. The Smithsonian Institution is mentioned a dozen more times as the recipient of enormous skeletons from across the entire United States. And coming in at number 1 is the giant in Canada. Okay, so this isn't a jungle, but TikToker Andrew Dawson posted a video of a giant in May 2022 sitting on top of a mountain in Canada. He zooms into a mountain and there you can see a large person. Andrew calls it a giant, and I agree with him because there's no way that that is a human. It wouldn't be that big. After his post, he reported having interactions with the CIA and Canadian CSIS, as well as claims to being stalked after the post. He also uploaded a post entitled "I'm Scared," where he informed viewers that they might not see him post ever again, but that everything was true. He then posted another TikTok of what appears to be military vehicles on top of the mountain where he saw the giant, which is just suspicious. Since that post, Andrew has not been seen on TikTok or any other form of social media, sparking plenty of theories about his whereabouts. His videos have gained millions of views, but suddenly the comments were turned off. Now, with this being TikTok, things have gotten pretty wacky, but it seems that the full story may never be told. Andrew's obituary was actually posted, indicating that he passed away, leaving family members behind, but did he fake his death? Was it a setup? His video seems so real, but his behavior with everything was frightening. Did the government do this to hide the fact that there are giants? Who knows?